The final set of our special presentations deals with promotions. And this is always a very special moment for the Police Services Board, and particularly for the officers and their families who have joined us here today. I'd like to call on Inspector Steve Goodine and Chief Duncan to do the 5 promotions that we have today.
I'm honored to present 5 members for promotion. First is Superintendent John Perry. John started his career with the London Police Service on May 8, 1989 as a cadet recruit. He was on 3 Patrol Section until January of 1994 when he was transferred to the Criminal Investigation Division, Major Crime Section. He was there until December of 1996 when he returned back to number 3 Patrol Section. In January of 1999, he became a sergeant on 4 Patrol Section. He then returned to Major Crime Section in January of 2000 as a detective, and was promoted to Detective Sergeant of the Major Crime Section in 2004. He was a Staff Sergeant of 4 Patrol Section in 2006, and then promoted to Inspector in June of 2007 in Professional Standards Branch, also Community Policing Branch, and then Human Resources Branch. John is here with his wife Leanne, and his son Ryan and daughter Carly are unable to attend today, but they're very proud of their dad. Superintendent John Perry. Next member is Inspector Steve Williams. Steve was hired as a cadet recruit in September of 1992, and he was assigned to 5 Patrol Section. In December of 1996, he was transferred to the Downtown Foot Patrol. In January of 2000, he was transferred to the Criminal Investigation Division Vice Drugs Section. And then in May of 2000 to the Major Crime Section. As a sergeant, he worked in the Professional Standards Branch, and in December of 2006 returned to 3 Patrol Section. He was an acting Staff Sergeant on 1 Patrol in July of 2007, and then Detective Sergeant in Major Crime Section. In January of this year, he was the Acting Inspector of Human Resources, Court and Communications, and now Professional Standards Branch. Today, Steve is here with his wife Christine and their daughter Ellen. Inspector Steve Williams. The next member is Detective Sergeant Frank Travagander. Frank started his career as a cadet in February of 1986, and then was a cadet recruit in June of 1987, where he was assigned to 2 Patrol Section. In March of 1993, he became a member of the Youth Crime Unit in the Criminal Investigation Division, and then part of a crime prevention initiative called Drug Free London. In June of 1999, became acting sergeant of the Headquarters Detention Unit, and then March of 2001, a sergeant on 1 Patrol Section. He then went to the courthouse in the Court Security Unit for 5 years. Then he went to the Human Resources Branch as a sergeant. In January of 2010, he was the sergeant or detective in charge of the Investigative Response Unit, and in June of this year, acting detective sergeant of the General Investigations Section, and now the Criminal Intelligence Section. Frank is here with his girlfriend Andrea Stewart, his sons Cameron and Charlie, his mother Ellen, his sister Deb, and her husband Fred. Detective Sergeant Frank Travagander. The next member is Staff Sergeant Paul Reynolds. Paul was hired as a cadet recruit on February 20th, 1989, where he was assigned to 1 patrol section. He was a member of that section until December of 1997, when he was transferred to the Major Crime Section as Detective Constable. In May of 2002, he returned to 1 patrol section, and then was transferred to the Recruiting and Training Unit in August of 2002. He returned to the Major Crime Section in April of 2003, and then became a member of the Core Unit in August of 2003. In June 2005, he was an acting detective of the Major Crime Section, and then became the sergeant in charge of the Police Reporting Center and Alternate Response Unit. In 2009, he was a sergeant in the Human Resources Branch, and then returned to 5 Section as an acting staff sergeant in June of this year. He's now the sergeant of the Communications Section. And Paul's here with his wife Tanya, his son Brock, daughter Paige, mother Joan, and father Bud, who is a former police officer with the Brockville Police Service and served 13 years in that service. Staff Sergeant Paul. The last member for today is Sergeant Andy Baker. Andy was hired as a cadet in May of 1989, and then became a cadet recruit in September of 1991. He is a member of 5 Patrol Section from January 1991 to November of 1993, then became a member of Project Gardener. In October of 1995, he returned to 5 Patrol Section, and in December of 2000 was a member of the Emergency Response Section. And he was there for 6 years and then became a member of the Rope Squad, and in May of 2009 was an instructor in the Use of Force Training Unit. He became an acting sergeant on patrol in January of this year, and has been acting sergeant on 2, 6, 4, and now 2 again. Very versatile. Well experienced sergeant. And we appreciate his flexibility, and his wife Marie's, who's here as well. Sergeant Andy Baker.
Well, congratulations to all of the officers. We're very proud of you, and it shows once again the quality of recruit that starts with London Police Service and is brought up through the ranks. We're very, very proud.